A common complaint from unhappy couples is we don't spend time together. Okay, not spending enough time together. And I often ask the question, when was the last time you guys spent a couple of hours, 1 hour, 2 hours alone, just the two of you, no children, no distractions, no work, no emails, just the two of you alone? And I often hear similar answers. It's either never. I hear that a lot. Never. We've never been on a date. We've never been alone without the kids. Or it's been a long time, a couple of years. This is very sad to hear. Life can get pretty hectic and chaotic. We get caught up with paying bills, making money, putting food on the table, which is all very important. Work, family, children. All right, children is a big factor. The children getting in the way, if you want to call it that. So people or couples who have children would usually complain and say, well, we don't spend enough time alone together. We need to remember as parents that the marriage is the cradle that holds the family together. The marriage is the cradle that holds the babies together. The children, the family, the kids, they need to see their parents have a healthy relationship. Spending time alone together is something that is healthy for them to see, right? They can see that this is how I need to be when I get married. I need to prioritize my spouse. I need to nurture my marriage in order to be a good parent. So we hear excuses a lot. Children, we can't go out on a date because we've got children. If you don't have family members that you trust, friends, other married couples that you can sort of have an arrangement with them where you can mind their kids, they mind your kids while you go out on a date just for 2 hours, someone that you can trust. If you don't have any friends, I hear some people say, look, we've got no family, we've got no friends, we've got no one. Okay. Hire a babysitter. There are a lot of trustworthy companies out there. You can get word of mouth referrals. There's no excuse. I believe there's absolutely no excuse why in 10 years you haven't been on a date with your spouse, right? It's just nonsense in my opinion, and excuse the upfrontness, but if you want to do something, you will do it. And I'm sure most of the time when I assess and look, they make time for other things. They make time to go out with other friends, or to do other things. You can always find a way to do something if you truly really want to do it. Now, life can get pretty chaotic and hectic, and I understand that. And these days couples, both couples are working. There's the hustle and bustle in the morning, preparing the kids to go to school. Then there's the hustle and bustle of actual work. And those who don't work also, there's the house to take care of and to maintain. Then there's the hustle and bustle and the chaos of the afternoon. So if the mother is not working, she's usually picking up the kids from school. And then usually after school, there's like classes, tutoring, swimming classes, Quran classes, appointments. Usually there's different venues as well. So one kid's here, one kid's there, and the mother is driving around like a headless chook. It's very hard work. And then the husband comes home. He missed all of that, and maybe the family's on their devices. They're all in their own room doing their own thing. And the husband comes home and no one greets him. I hear that a lot as well, which is quite unfortunate. And this is not just like a one-off event, right? We're talking long-term marriages here. Husband would walk in the door, and no one says, hello, salam alaikum, how's your day? Or even looks at him. Or if he says salam alaikum, he'll be, people on the phone, they'll be like, wa alaikum salam. Not even look at him. I get people telling me, wa alaikum salam, the children and the wife, heads down in the phone, absorbed in the phone, and not even paying attention to the husband, the father that's walking in. And then you got the chaos of the afternoon. After that, showers, dinner time, bedtime, putting the kids to bed, and usually at that time, I hear a lot of couples tell me when the kids are, are in bed, and that takes an hour or two. They've got to, the children, when you tell them it's bedtime, they need 2 hours to actually get to bed. They want to have a drink, they're hungry, they're sick, they remembered something, they want to come talk to you, they want to come and be affectionate to you. And that's kids, they're beautiful. So couples tell me that when they're asleep, that's when I can open up my laptop and catch up on some work. If people who run their own business or what have you, this is where they take that time to do that. So now it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Husband and wife are still not connected from the morning till the night, right? And then bedtime, each will go to bed on their own, in their own time. There's no wind up or wind down together towards bedtime. They give each other their backs, they fall asleep, they wake up. First thing they touch or do is they roll over and grab their phones. They scroll endlessly on their phones, and then they roll out of bed, get dressed, go to work, rinse and repeat, day in and day out. So what you can notice is that there's no connection between the husband and the wife. And this causes, it's one of the main issues that we hear, and it causes a lot of disconnection, drifting apart, living parallel lives, and you feel like you're doing it on your own. Each parent, the husband will feel unappreciated, his wife doesn't know what's going on in his world, what's happening in his day, what's going on in his mind, what's going on with his feelings, what stresses he has. And also the wife feels no affection, no support. Husband doesn't really know the stress that she's going through or doesn't ask about it. And then this is where couples can drift apart. So I'm going to mention 6 hours to a better relationship. So I'm not asking, you don't need to spend endless time together, every day, hours and hours together. It doesn't work that way. We're not saying that. When we say prioritize the marriage, prioritize the relationship, it's really that intentional effort in small moments, right? And we call them rituals for connection. Rituals of connection. So these are rituals that you do daily in those small, mundane sort of moments, where you check in with each other, and it's a ritual unique to you and your marriage, right? So the way you wake up, all right? And these are all discussions that you can have, right? The way you wake up, the way you part, the way you reunite, the way you come home from work, the way you show appreciation and admiration, the way you show affection, the way you go to sleep, date nights, discussing problems in the marriage, vacations, holidays, weekends, breakfast. How do you like weekends? What do you want to do on weekends? And usually we bring what we grew up on. So you might have a family, a person, the husband, let's say he's come from a family where breakfast is, on a Saturday morning was mandatory. So that becomes something that's important to him. And if it's something that he's not getting in his marriage, in his family, then he may feel some disconnect, some disconnection. Something's not right. He may feel that, upset that he's not implementing that ritual. And the wife might come from a family where that wasn't the case, right? So you need to have a conversation about these daily things, right? So I'm going to mention some things that equal 6 hours in a week that equal to a better relationship, all right? So the first is partings, okay? So happy couples, they make an effort to learn one thing that is happening in their partner's life that day before saying goodbye, in the morning. So the goal is to just ask questions and learn about the exciting and the not so exciting things that's going to happen in your partner's day, right? So partings, if you just spend 2 minutes a day, 5 days a week, right? That equals 10 minutes per week. 2 minutes a day, 5 days a week. with your parting ritual. So it could be just a discussion. How is your day looking? Where are you going today? You talk about what you're going to do after work or at work, or who you're going to see, what appointments you have. Is anything stressful? Is there any deadlines, meetings, all this stuff? 2 minutes, 1 minute each, right? You can add to this part in also the way you wake up, instead of grabbing your phone, cuddle, give a good morning kiss, ask your spouse, how was your sleep? Did you have any dreams? And talk about those dreams and just listen. The Prophet ﷺ would ask his companions, did any of you have a dream? And they would share their dreams, first thing in the morning. So it's a good practice, a good ritual to do with your within your marriage. So the first one, partings, is 2 minutes a day, 5 days a week, right? Say 5 working days. The next one is reunions, right? The way you reunite, when you see your spouse again, at the end of the day, when they come home from work, share a hug and a kiss, and ask them how their day was, and ask them what issues are they facing, or what do they want to talk about, or just say, how are you? How are you? I get a lot of couples telling me, my husband or my wife, he or she hasn't asked me, how are you in forever. And if she just says that, it'll mean so much to me. But with care, not just like, how are you, and walk. Like, actually sit there and say, how are you? How are you doing? And have a conversation for at least 20 minutes, right? When you reunite. 20 minutes of what happened. So 10 minutes you, the husband, 10 minutes the wife, right? Just about what happened in that day, what's stressing you out. And when you're speaking about external stuff, today this problem happened, or that problem happened, or this exciting thing happened, and you as a listener are just listening and making them feel that you're interested, right? You're curious, you're interested, and also you show empathy. You validate their feelings if they express some sort of feelings. You tell them things like, wow, that must be annoying, that must be hard, or that sounds like fun. Thanks for sharing that with me. And you do that, right? So that's 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week on your reunion. So the ritual could be the hug, the kiss, and the conversation. So that equals to be 1 hour and 40 minutes per week, right? Your reunions. Then you got appreciation and admiration. So use a admiration journal, if you like, and record something small that you notice about your spouse, and connect it to a trait that you admire about your spouse. So, for example, you come home and everything's in order. You can share that with your spouse and say, I really appreciate how you got things in order, and you're doing things. You're taking kids to appointments, and you're doing things. I really appreciate that. That's very, so you link it to a trait. So the trait could be something like organized. You're very organized. I really love that about you. So you share that. You can write it down in your journal, and you share it every day, right, to each other. So you talk about the things that you appreciate, and you catch your partner doing something right instead of always criticizing them, condemning them, complaining, whinging, negativity. Why can't you do this? And you're always doing that, and this never happens, and that. People, if you do that a lot, then your brain goes into this negative sentiment override where it starts to focus on nothing but the negatives. If you do this regularly, share this appreciation and link it to a trait and have a conversation about it, your brain starts to look for what they're doing right. Catch them doing right. Don't be those guys or those husbands or wives that just want to catch their partner doing something wrong. Gotcha. No, you don't want to do that. You want to share appreciation and admiration. I love that about you. I love how you're organized. I love how you get up and you go to work every morning. You're very committed husband. You're a very committed husband. You're a very committed spouse. So this primes your mind to see the positives rather than the negatives, and your partner feels good, that they feel valued, they feel important. You're noticing what they're doing in the relationship. That takes 5 minutes a day, every day, 7 days a week. 2.5 minutes the husband, 2.5 minutes the wife, sharing something that they appreciate, and look for the small things. Okay, you don't need to appreciate all the big things. You're looking for the small things, the stuff that keeps the marriage going, keeps the house in motion, keeps the family in motion. A lot of people tell me, why should I say thank you, or I appreciate this, or I appreciate that, if it's his job anyway? He's the man, he needs to pay the bills. Why should I thank him for that? Or, why should I thank her for cleaning the house? It's her job anyway. I say to these couples, okay, you've agreed on the roles and the responsibilities. That's good. You're not fighting over that. But how would you like it if your husband or your wife pulls out from this responsibility and says, you know what, I don't want to do it. What are you going to do about it? Wouldn't your life be miserable? And they can easily do that. They can be deadbeat husbands and deadbeat wives if they really wanted to. But they choose not to. They choose to do this, right? Because they love you, they love the family. So showing your partner, your spouse, that I see you and I appreciate you, I value you, So that's 5 minutes a day, 7 days a week, sharing appreciation and admiration. The next one is affection. So make sure to embrace each other before falling asleep. That's one way to show affection. Cuddling, a good night kiss. And let these cuddles and kisses last at a minimum of 6 seconds. 6 seconds, slow seconds even, The research finds that it takes that long, 6 seconds, for oxytocin and the bonding hormones to be produced within your body. And you feel connected. You feel like there's a bond between you and that person, I think, with kissing, there's some magic involved there, So affection. So the way you go to sleep, you can show affection there. Throughout the day, right? If you're at work, a simple text, I miss you, thinking of you. This is a good ritual to have. All this affection in a day would, let's calculate it to be 5 minutes a day. Let's say it's a text in the morning, a hug in the morning, text at work, a little phone call that lasts a minute. In the afternoon, hold hands, unwind together, watch a movie, talk, have a cup of tea, have a ritual where the kids are in bed. There's no phones, there's no devices, there's no laptops, there's no emails, there's no crap. It's just you and your spouse, and you are holding hands, doing nothing, or you might be talking. Doesn't matter what the case is, but there's affection there, okay? This helps reduce stresses, and your brain starts to associate your spouse as a stress-reducing sort of component, right? It associates your spouse as a stress reducer, right? So that's some ways that you can show affection. Say I love you, and mean it. Say other than I love you. So think outside of the box. Say I care about you, I value you. You make my life better. You bring value to my life. I appreciate you. Stuff like that. That's 5 minutes a day, 7 days a week. And also have a ritual of, the way you go to bed as well. The next ritual is date nights. So, 2 hours a week, once a week. Just 2 hours a week where there's no children, phones are not on loud, you're not checking emails, you're not on WhatsApp, you're not on Snapchat, you're not with your, the social media people, whether it's your family or friends, while you're with your partner. No, you're with your partner, right? They are the priority in that 2 hours, And it could be a dinner, some sort of reservation, make a reservation at a restaurant, go for a walk, somewhere nice, a view, go grab a coffee, and just talk, open-ended questions, have a conversation, discuss things, and turn towards each other in that moment, turn towards each other physically, by getting close to them, and also emotionally, turn towards their emotions. So let that be a real, affectionate type of night. And 2 hours a week. It doesn't have to be flashy, it doesn't have to be expensive. It could be a coffee from Macca's. You know, and you're in the car park, you and her having a chat, right? It could be at the beach, and it could be flashy if you like. That's 2 hours a week, right? The next one is what we call the State of the Union meeting. This is where you spend an hour a week discussing areas of concern within the marriage, right? And this gives couples the freedom to express their fears, their concerns in a way that makes them feel heard and loved instead of rejected and attacked and so forth. So we call this the State of the Union meeting. There is some rules to it. You can't just do it on your own if you don't know how to do it. But the aim here is, and if you want to know more about this, if you want instructions, let me know. I can email it to you. But the aim here is you spend an hour in this meeting with you and your spouse. You are the heads of the household and you're discussing. It's like what we call, in Arabic, a shura meeting or a management meeting, right? You sit down and you discuss things that's going on in the marriage, good things and bad things. You started off with what you appreciate and what you like, what you want to see more of, so you say to your spouse, 5 things that you appreciate. I appreciate this, I appreciate that. This is going well for us. Well done here. Clap there. I love you here and I love you there. Thank you for this, thank you for that. You both do that to each other. That starts the mood off in a positive way. And then you can discuss something, a problem, right? So this week, I wasn't too happy. When this happened, I felt sad. I felt excluded. Can we talk about that for a minute? And you take turns being speaker, listener. And you can give each other sort of advice at the end, one thing that they can do better, one thing that you can do better. What this does is, because problems with marriages, or with distressed couples, is that problems occur, they don't talk about them. Problems occur, they don't talk about them. They bottle up, keep it inside. At least this once a week meeting, I like to, recommend it to be on a Sunday night, afternoon, kids are asleep, make it a ritual. You maybe sit on the floor on your Adi Arabiya or a Turkish rug or something like that with a nice cup of tea. And, on a Sunday night, at least it doesn't let a week go by without issues being bottled up, right? And that way you start the week fresh. You don't have anything inside of you. You let it out. You felt heard. You felt understood. Maybe there's problem solving there. So that's 1 hour a week. All of these equal 6 hours in the week. And this will guarantee improve your relationship. I understand marriages are complex and complicated. I'm not saying this is going to fix abuse or anything, addictions or cheat. I'm not saying that, but this for, couples in distress who love each other, who want to make it work, right? This will help, right? From nothing to this every week, that's a massive change. And it's only 6 hours in a week. It's nothing, right? So you can do it. Make your intention from now, replay this video and take notes. If you want it in a PDF, I can send it to you. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you benefited from this video, and I'll see you next time.